design was based on the two rivers that we have in Iraq, Tigris and Euphrates, and those are the paths of the two rivers on the floor. Right now we're standing and we're going to be walking in between those two rivers, thus Mesopotamia, which means the land between the two rivers. So welcome to our country. The silver dots you see behind you on the floor, they draw the map of Iraq on the floor of the pavilion. We entered now from the north part of the country and we're ending our tour in the south part of the country. The screens change in height as we walk, and that is because they respond to water level in each area. Again, we're in the north, we have high water level, the screens are high, and they fluctuate as we walk in. The first monument we have here is called the Ashtar's Gate, built in the year 575 BC. So right now the original gate is about more than 2,600 years old, commissioned by the king Nebuchadnezzar II as a gift to the Babylonian goddess عشتار, and named the gate after her. It's one of 8 gates surrounding the inner city of Babel, and عشتار was the main one of them. Follow me please. We're walking in between the two rivers, going to the city of Samarra, Malwiyat Samarra. The term Malwiya means in English spiral, and you can see it's a spiral staircase built in the Abbasid age in the year 851 AD, so about more than 1,200 years ago, as a minaret to the Great Mosque of Samarra behind it. It's about 2 meters in height and consists of 399 steps. The muezzin who calls for prayer in Islam has to climb it up and down 5 times a day to call for prayer from the highest room of it. It's still standing in the city of Samarra in its original shape, and it's now open for tourists. If you notice how the screens dropped in here, then that is because we're in an area now with less water level than what we had in the north as we reach now the marches. In the south part of Iraq, near Basra and Nasiriyah cities, the marches are basically bodies of water extending across an area of 35 to 40,000 kilometers, naturally existing on site and connecting back to both rivers Tigris and Euphrates. In 2016, the UNESCO acknowledged it as part of the World Heritage List, so right now it's a site globally protected by the UNESCO, and people there still use boats for transportation, and they rely on fishing as a source of income in that area, and they use for fishing in the marches and the rest parts of Iraq a fishing net called Siliya, and it's the one you see on top of you right now. The design was inspired from that fishing net. The colors range from red to orange to yellow at the back were as per a study, and they represent the photovoltaic potential of Iraq to produce solar energy. We have a very high potential, so we hope to use this opportunity in the future. Before ending our tour, I'm going to talk about an event that happened last March of this year in Iraq. Pope Francis' visit to Iraq was a historical visit, as it was the first time any Pope visits our country. He delivered a message of love and peace to Iraq and the surrounding region during his visit. So we wanted to showcase this event and tell you guys, our visitors, how proud were we as a country for him to come to us. And now we can end our tour at our beloved capital, Baghdad, in Al-Rasafa region of the capital. Martyrs Monument was built in 1983 and designed by the Iraqi sculptor Ismail Fattah al-Turk as a memorial for the soldiers who lost their lives in the previous wars. The names of martyrs are engraved on the walls of the museum underneath those 2 monuments, and it's called Martyrs Museum. Thank you so much for listening. Any questions, comments, complaints? So we do have a theme showing on a documentary about Mesopotamia at the moment, and the
Babylon civilization. From here, dreams sneak and the eyes are fascinated by the splendor of history. The country of Babylon means in the Akkadian language, the gate of God. Babylon is located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, and a great civilization was established in its land between the 2 centuries, 6th BC, 18th BC, near the city of Hilla, currently in Iraq. This period of time was known for its prosperity and greatness. Hammurabi made development of laws that made it more like divine laws. It was a modern organization in all its field, built temples, and the country under its rule reached the peak of its prosperity. It was followed by 5 powerful kings, bringing the number of the kings of Babylon to 11 kings until the end of the Golden Era. and the ancient civilization of Babylon extended in its golden age from 1594 BC to 1894 BC. And its people spoke the Semitic Akkadian language and wrote in cuneiform. In all the civilizations that passed through the world, there was a fingerprint that civilization left on the forehead of history. Among the most important achievements left by the Babylonian civilization behind it. A gate built with clay bricks, palms, and painted with blue turquoise porcelain, and painted on a lot of drawings and engravings for different forms of animals, some of which are familiar as lions and bulls, and some of them are legendary as Buddha, which combine the body of a dog, lion feet, and a snake tail. Which means the temple of the Great Lady, where the Holy Marriage ceremony takes place and contains the holy well in which sins are washed. King Nebuchadnezzar built the Lion of Babylon, a statue of solid black basalt stone about 2 meters long, in the form of a lion that bears a human, and this lion has become a national symbol of Iraq. This palace represents a standalone city and the residence of the King of Babylon, and occupies the city center with an area of 52,000 square meters, and includes 200 different rooms of sizes and functions, the most important of which are the throne hall. Nebuchadnezzar says, I put its solid foundations and built it with bitumen and bricks, trapped the bricks, and raised it on the height of the mountain, and I ordered to bring the great rice trees to its ceilings, and put it on its copper doors, and collected silver, gold, and great treasure in it. The city of Babylon was expanded under the rule of Nebuchadnezzar, which was from 562 to 605 BC. The labyrinth of the great city of Babylon. It is called Enemy Labyrinth, or Old Babylon is one of the most fortified cities, as well as its high and large walls. The city of Babylon was characterized by the presence of labyrinths surrounding King Nebuchadnezzar's palace, dedicated to its protection and to the enemy's illusion that he will arrive at the end of the road to the king's palace. But he finds himself amidst a maze and crowd of walls and twisted roads from which he does not know how. Tower, a high-rise building that surprised the world to complete a series of antique and amazing wonders. Hanging Gardens. It was a palace built by Nebuchadnezzar for his wife Emilius, granddaughter of King Nebuchadnezzar. Because of her nostalgia of her original home, she planted the balconies of the palace with plants and flowers similar to those in her homeland, and then left to hang downwards and appeared as if they were hanging in the air, and its beauty reached indescribable limits until it became one of the 7 wonders of the world. Here, King Sargon of the Akkadi, King Nebuchadnezzar, King Nebuchadnezzar, and King Hammurabi passed. Here is the basis of the human civilization, which is a historical icon of civilization. civilization of Mesopotamia and the unique tourist landmark translates to human genius and the high level reached by culture, kingship, and civilization in Mesopotamia. And this land still contains within it hidden treasures and secrets that are looking for those who discover them. And there's no surprise in that, because here is the first letter line and the sun of civilization shines on the whole world.
The story of writing, astronomy, and law. The story of civilization itself begins in one place. Not Egypt, not Greece, not Rome, but Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is an exceedingly fertile plain situated between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. For 5 millennia, this small strip of land situated in what is today Iraq, Kuwait, and Syria fostered innovations that would change the world forever. Inhabited for nearly 12,000 years, Mesopotamia's stable climate, rich soil, and steady supply of fresh water made it ideal for agriculture to develop and thrive. About 6,000 years ago, seemingly overnight, some of these agricultural settlements blossomed into some of the world's first cities. In the period between 4000 and 3100 BC, Mesopotamia was dotted with a constellation of competing city-states. At one point, they were unified under the Akkadian Empire, and then broke apart, forming the empires of Assyria and Babylon. Despite near constant warfare, innovation and development thrived in ancient Mesopotamia. They built on a monumental scale, from palaces to ziggurats. Mammoth temples served as ritual locations to commune with the gods. They also developed advanced mathematics, including a base 60 system that created a 60-second minute, a 60-minute hour, and a 360-degree circular angle. The Babylonians used their sophisticated system of mathematics to map and study the sky. They divided one Earth year into 12 periods. Each was named after the most prominent constellations in the heavens, a tradition later adopted by the Greeks to create the zodiac. They also divided the week into 7 days, naming each after their 7 observable planets in the sky. But perhaps the most impactful innovation to come out of Mesopotamia is literacy. What began as simple pictures scrawled onto wet clay to keep track of goods and wealth developed into a sophisticated writing system by the year 3200 BC. This writing system would come to be called cuneiform in modern times and proved so flexible that, over the span of 3,000 years, it would be adapted for over a dozen different major languages in countless uses, including recording the law of the Babylonian king Hammurabi, which formed the basis of a standardized justice system. But Mesopotamia's success became its undoing. Babylon in particular grew too rich a state to resist outside envy. In 539 BC, the Persian king Cyrus conquered Babylon and wielded his control over the entirety of Mesopotamia. For centuries, this area became territory of foreign empires. Eventually, Mesopotamia would fade, like its kings, into the mist of history, and its cities would sink beneath the sands of Iraq. But its ideas would prevail in literacy, law, math, astronomy, and the gift of civilization